On May 25, 2020, the world watched in horror as George Floyd, an unarmed black man, died at the hands of Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin. Floyd's death, caught on camera, sparked worldwide protests, ignited the Black Lives Matter movement, and forever changed the way we talk about race and policing. It all started on a quiet evening in South Minneapolis. George Floyd, a 46-year-old man, was suspected of using a counterfeit $20 bill at a local convenience store. When the police arrived, what should have been a routine arrest quickly turned deadly. As officers tried to arrest Floyd, he was pulled to the ground and handcuffed. Derek Chauvin, a veteran officer, pinned Floyd to the pavement, kneeling on his neck for 9 minutes and 29 seconds. For over 9 minutes, Floyd begged for his life, repeatedly saying "I can't breathe," as bystanders pleaded with the officers to stop. Despite their cries, Chauvin never lifted his knee. The moment that changed everything was captured by a courageous 17-year-old bystander, Darnella Frazier. Her cell phone footage spread rapidly across social media, bringing the entire world into that horrifying moment. Within hours, the video went viral, sparking outrage not only in Minneapolis but across the globe. The images of George Floyd pinned to the ground under Derek Chauvin's knee would go on to ignite a historic movement. The killing of George Floyd struck a nerve. His death came at a time of rising tensions about police brutality, systemic racism, and inequality in America. Protests broke out in Minneapolis within days and quickly spread to major cities like Los Angeles, New York, London, and Paris. What started as a local demand for justice transformed into a global movement against racial injustice. The Black Lives Matter movement, founded in 2013, became the rallying cry for millions seeking an end to police violence and institutional racism. From peaceful demonstrations to mass marches, people from all walks of life joined in, united by a common goal: justice for George Floyd and an end to racial oppression. In June 2020, the streets were filled with powerful moments of solidarity, and in cities across the world, people knelt in memory of George Floyd, chanting his name and demanding accountability. But as the streets filled with anger and grief, the world's attention turned to the legal system. Would there be justice for George Floyd? Derek Chauvin was quickly arrested and charged with second-degree unintentional murder, third-degree murder, and second-degree manslaughter. In March 2021, the trial of Derek Chauvin began. It was a trial watched by millions, live-streamed for the world to see. The prosecution argued that Chauvin's actions were excessive, cruel, and violated the basic rights of a human being. The trial included powerful testimony from bystanders, police officers, and medical experts who all said the same thing: George Floyd's death was unnecessary and preventable. One of the most powerful moments came from pulmonologist Dr. Martin Tobin, who explained that Floyd died from a lack of oxygen due to the pressure on his neck. On April 20, 2021, after weeks of testimony, the world held its breath as the jury delivered their verdict. Derek Chauvin was found guilty on all charges: second-degree unintentional murder, third-degree murder, and second-degree manslaughter. The verdict was met with relief and celebration. For many, it was a moment of justice, a symbol that accountability was possible. But it was also a stark reminder of how far we still have to go. After the verdict, the conversation about police reform intensified. President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris called for real changes to policing in America. The George Floyd Justice in Policing Act was introduced to Congress, aiming to overhaul how police departments operate, ban chokeholds, and increase accountability. But, as of 2024, this legislation remains stalled in the U.S. Senate, illustrating the deep divide in the country over how to address police reform and systemic racism. George Floyd's death had an impact far beyond the borders of the United States. In the UK, France, Australia, and many other countries, people took to the streets in solidarity, using Floyd's death to call out their own nation's issues with racial injustice and police violence. In many countries, this movement led to deeper conversations about colonialism, systemic racism, and the need for societal change. statues of colonial leaders came down, and new policies were proposed to address inequality. George Floyd's legacy goes beyond the courtroom. His name became synonymous with the fight for justice and equality. Murals in his honor have been painted all over the world, and his story continues to inspire a new generation of activists. The fight for change didn't end with Derek Chauvin's conviction. Grassroots organizations have continued to push for systemic reforms, not only in policing but in areas like education, housing, and healthcare. George Floyd's death was a tragedy, but his legacy lives on in the fight for justice. George Floyd's life was tragically cut short, but his death set off a movement that cannot be ignored. As we move forward, his name will remain a powerful reminder of the work still needed to achieve true justice and equality. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more stories that impact our world. Together, we can continue the fight for justice.